What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Kofi Kingston, a.k.a. 1/3 of the New Day. You're not going to say it with me, sir? Yeah, come on, you better participate. Let's try it again. 1/3 of the New Day, and you are watching The Young and the Wrestlers. Ha 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 ha.
Welcome to The Young and the Wrestlers, the Pop Culture's WWE podcast. We dive into the soap opera nature of wrestling. Characters, storylines, you name it, we are chatting about it. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Betson, alongside.
I'm going Kyrie insane. I'm Jem.
This is our Raw in Review. It comes at you every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to facebook.com/group/thepopculturist, Twitter, Discord, Instagram, all the links are in the description below. Jem has changed her Twitter handle. I haven't updated the screen yet. I'll do it over the weekend. What can we do? If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this little wrestling pod. Be sure to go to your podcast service of choice, give it a 5-star rating, written review, or if you're watching us on YouTube, why not give it a like, subscribe, and comment below. Maybe even ring that notification bell. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist, or you can buy our merchandise at popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Jem!
Yes.
It feels like it's been 24 hours since I spoke to you.
I know. It feels like a whole day. Wild.
An absolute whole day. How are you?
A whole day. Not bad, man. I got my car serviced today, so it feels like I'm riding in a brand new whip. It's awesome. They washed it for me. And I got an air freshener too.
Ooh. What scent though? That's the key thing.
I went for the vanilla.
Vanilla always make me want to vomit for some reason. Never like the vanilla car fresheners are gross.
It's because people open them too fast. You're supposed to cut a little V and slowly lower it so it lasts longer. People just open it all up and yeah. Anyway,
it makes me want to vomit.
That's beside the points.
So I want to vomit. I've got no time for it.
That's beside the points. How are you?
I'm well. Oh, and I realized I missed one thing about the spiel. If you want to watch us, we can watch us record this show live at twitch.tv/thepopculturist, where you can talk to us and chat just like Kevin did. Hey, Kevin.
Hello.
How you doing? But yeah, I'm all right, man. All right. You know, a day at work. I got my crazy hair on today. I haven't had a haircut since, like I said, the day that we're able the hairdresser sort of opened again. I got a haircut. It's been like, 6-7 weeks since then, so it's fucking chaos again. We'll have to arrange.
I haven't had a haircut in 2 years.
Yeah, but you look, I get them sweet afros. You get like that nice hair. You know what I mean? Like we're in a very different space when it comes to our hair.
Due for a haircut.
What can we do? Anyways, as we said, this is our Raw in Review. So yesterday, we did our Extreme Rules breakdown, review, reaction, analysis, and it left us with a ton of questions because Extreme Rules was pretty much a setup to more storylines. One of them being the big one, the massive one that came out of Extreme Rules. Rey Mysterio, he got his fucking eye pulled out. Seth Rollins was shocked, surprised, even made himself vom at the sight of seeing a man. And of course, he opens up Raw this week to discuss. Because we had the question like, is this a turning point for the Monday Night Messiah? Is this the time where he reflects inwards and goes, oh man, what the fuck have I done? Jem, is that what happened? No. Okay,
not at all.
Not remotely.
Of course not. He's the Messiah. Everything he does is correct. Basically, like, he comes out and he's like, you're all asking me, like, do I regret it? And he's like, I'm going to answer your question with a question. Do you regret making me do this? You did this to me. This is the fault of the WWE Universe. You made this happen. And in turn, like, you took out Rey Mysterio's eye. So we were told that the optic nerve had not been damaged. So there is a very high chance that Rey Mysterio will keep... Yeah, exactly. It just shoved back in there.
Just crank that bad boy back in.
Yeah, which is really good to hear. But in Seth Rollins' words, with Rey out of sight. But he has to move on to the next thing. And he's like, but the thing is, nobody's here to stand in my way. And then Aleister Black.
But we should mention as well, so there were some points here that were discussed by Seth. One of them being that, you know, Ray did ask for this, which is 100% correct. He did ask for this stipulation. It was his pitch.
Yes. Yeah.
So you know, he can't be too mad that this is where it was going.
Yeah, because he knew what he was getting into.
Exactly. But additionally, like, in regards to, you know, we created the Messiah, well, we did and we didn't, really. Like, if we go back, like, you know, the Monday Night Messiah, so Seth Rollins has changed the Messiah, did come at a time where we were all, you know, not we, as the collective wrestling community were giving him a whole bunch of grief, especially on Twitter, especially when he claimed himself to be the best wrestler in the world. And, you know, it sort of pushed him, it did kind of push him into this space. Now, Grant, I certainly don't think there was the intention to push him to a point to rank Yankee Dude's eye out. But do you believe his stance on we made him this person is valid, is correct?
I think, honestly, yeah. I think it's a valid point. He does make a point. Do I regret it? No. Because this is quality entertainment. Like, it's fun seeing him slowly lose his mind and think that he is a god. I think one of my favorite things coming out of it now is the whole, like, instead of just booing him, they're chanting shame. They're like, shame, shame. So beautiful, because it ties perfectly into what he's building. And I don't know, I think, you know, Murphy at his side, a loyal disciple. I really think that, like, we created a monster, but it's a great monster to see. Like, what would Seth be doing without this? Like, this is the best thing for him, I think, because otherwise he'd fade into obscurity. He had to do something drastic.
But did we anticipate him literally poking a dude's eye out?
I didn't anticipate him gouging some guy's eye out, but I did expect some, like, weird, like, maybe heal the blind holy shit, but not, you know, take
not make the
out.
blind holy shit.
Yeah, exactly it.
But yeah, so one person, as you mentioned, Jem, that was unhappy, that was not stoked to see Rey Mysterio with missing an eyeball. Aleister Black comes down, grabs the mic, gets up in the business, comes and runs in. Buddy Murphy runs at him, takes the black mask, puss. Next thing we know, Seth Rollins, Aleister Black match. It was awesome. It was great. These guys can go.
It was
can go
so
nuts.
good, especially, like, even with Murphy interfering for the most part, like, it was still really good because Aleister Black just goes above and beyond to show that he can, like, he doesn't need, you know, an advantage. He can fight on his own. He can take on an advantage, which I love.
Yeah. And he comes in this match with a plan. The plan is to avenge Rey Mysterio, you know, avenge his friend.
Because he has been fighting, side by side with Rey and his family for the last couple of months.
Yeah. So like, what was great here in terms of what we're seeing, it was great to see Aleister Black step up once again against Seth. This has been sort of a bit ongoing, especially after Aleister, one of his biggest most recent feuds were with Buddy Murphy. Like, it's sort of all continuing there, which is nice. And to make things even gnarlier, Aleister Black did lose here, but it wasn't without him delivering some of, like, demonstrating his strength. Like,
especially with his arms being taken out.
Correct. So like, Seth spent the whole time taking out his arm, which is fascinating because why didn't it take out his leg? Like, the Black Mass is a kick. Now, he is the striking man from Amsterdam, but he's like, it's the kicks that are where his big damages. But it was one of those things that was almost worked out, almost serendipitous, with the idea of, like, this Black Mass. Seth drops, lands, falls under the rope, can't get a pin, Alistair goes to yank him into the center of the ring. Can't, because his arm's jacked up. I'm like, oh my God. Like, did Seth, like, it makes me wonder, like, had Seth anticipated the match?
Oh, he had to have.
Knowing that, like, but then how did he know to stay near ringside? There's a lot a lot in play here, but it was awesome. So Buddy comes in,
I think divine
gets
intervention
involved,
for Seth
distracts him.
Rollins.
Divine intervention. I like that.
Divine intervention.
Yeah, so then he rolls
Buddy
out.
Murphy.
Buddy comes. So Buddy causes a distraction, allowing Seth to get at least enough mental fortitude to like roll off the side of the ring and stagger back. But then shortly after, Buddy Murphy gets himself another black mass, and he falls off the announce table. That's his second one of the night. And my favorite part is Seth's like, "Buddy, help me, Buddy." He's just like dead. Like by the announce table, he's just like, he's not here and helping you, bro.
I think it was like Tom Phillips was like, we really need to get this desk insured, and I was like, yes, you fucking
You do. That desk has got a lot of bussing recently.
That desk has taken some.
But of course, there was a distraction, and then after delivery of a stomp, Seth Rollins takes the win here. Now, this is like the second time that Aleister Black has taken a pin since coming to main roster, which is amazing, and I think says a lot about Seth Rollins in terms of his energy and power, enough to take that essentially unstoppable finish here from Black, but still able to come through, and just shows the power of having that team behind him with Buddy Murphy.
Yeah. Exactly right. But it also shows, like, it goes to show how vicious and unrelenting he is as well. Because after the fact, as they were leaving, Murphy and Seth Rollins decide to come back and just absolutely brutalize that arm to the point where Seth stomps it into the cover of the announce table, and, like, Black screaming bloody murder. Like, I would be surprised if he is on Raw next week. Like, that was a vicious stomp to that arm.
Yeah, it was. Like, it was a brutal beatdown. As you said, it would be surprising if he's not off for a couple of weeks. But someone who might be off for permanent time, God knows how long, is Kairi Sane.
Really?
So Kairi Sane had a match against Bayley this week, but
she sure did.
Kairi Sane's, as far as we're aware, her contract has expired.
Interesting.
So this may, in fact, be her last match with WWE, because from the inside source of Dirt Sheet Dash, she hasn't renewed.
Oh. Interesting. That breaks my heart, because tonight was amazing.
We're spot on. So she had after like, this answers another question about last night with the Extreme Rules with Sasha Banks.
Yes.
Around the idea, did Sasha actually win? The answer is no. Stephanie McMahon comes out and very clearly points out that no, you didn't win. You didn't win, Sasha, but neither did you, Asuka. Next week on Raw, there is a match. It is a championship match. So winner can be done by pinfall, submission, count out, or interference. So if Bayley interferes, she loses. Like, it's not as if
her exact words were, if a certain role model interferes, you will lose the championship.
Yeah, so it is a situation of, obviously with Kairi out of the picture now, this is more like she won't that takes away that possibility of Kairi getting involved by accident and costing Asuka the title. So we may see something a little bit different here.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think one of the things I loved about the whole thing was when Sasha Banks did come out, she was not announced as the Raw Women's Champion. She was not. And her decal did not say anything other than the WWE Women's Champion. Oh, the side plates? I mean the lower third. No. The actual lower, the lower third, yep. Yeah, and the side plates still said Asuka on them. So, I mean, usually they get them changed straight away. So, but yeah, look, I was not expecting this. I was not expecting, I was expecting some sort of intervening, but I was not expecting the you didn't win and you didn't win, so technically the belt's vacant. Yeah, it is. Yes, I guess it's in a vacant space right now. Yeah, which I love. I thought that was a great touch. I think, Stephanie McMahon was right. Asuka technically didn't lose, but she technically didn't win either.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think Asuka's out of Champion's Advantage too. So
yeah, it looks as if it's a definitive. This is it. Like this is the defining way for it to go either there or there. It's going to go one way.
exactly it.
Which is fascinating. But as you said, so there was that scheduled match between Bayley and Kairi Sane. Which was a great match. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, absolutely amazing. Those two did a phenomenal job. And interestingly enough, I was not expecting the conclusion of the match.
So what I personally expected, and I think this might be a sign of things to come and maybe even potentially what could happen next week. During this match, we see Shayna Basler having an interview with Charlie around, hey, why are you watching this match? And her understanding...
do you have an investment?
Yeah, her understanding is, I'm invested in this match like the same way the Shark's invested in Prey. I don't have a match tonight, yet these guys are. Therefore, I am the dominant person in this Raw division. I need to keep an eye on what's happening.
Exactly it.
So
exactly right.
Do you think that Shane is going to play an involvement in next week and change that outcome?
Oh, I definitely think Shayna's on her way to get involved. For sure. I think, which I'm psyched about because I feel like she's been a little bit sort of in the background lately, which I hate because, there was such big prospects for her and it kind of went nowhere. And I want to see her reach what I know she's capable of, which is absolute destruction.
Yeah, I've been one of the most dominant forces in NXT. It's a bit of a shame she's kind of had a slow start here on Main.
Yeah. And, she went for the Raw title. She didn't have any luck. So I am honestly expecting her to be the one to dethrone Bayley.
Bayley, you mean?
I think she's going to dethrone Bayley. Yeah, that's what she was
she's
watching.
She's a Raw superstar. Why
she is. Well, why was Bayley competing on Raw if she's a...
Because she's women's tag title.
Yeah.
So my question here, Jem,
touche,
is if you were Shayna Baszler and you had the opportunity to sway the outcome of the match next week and then potentially get involved and choose your opponent for SummerSlam, because that's where the next championship match will be after next week, who do you want? Do you want Bayley or do you want Asuka?
Do you mean Sasha?
Sorry. Do you want Sasha? We're both getting Bayley and Sasha mixed up today. Do you want Sasha or do you want Asuka? Like, if you
100% Asuka.
So you want, like, if you were Sasha? So if you were Shayna, not what we want to see. If you were Sasha, what is the smartest game plan here?
The smartest and what would guarantee a win would be facing Sasha, but I think. Like, Basler's not one to step down from a challenge, so I think she'd want to take on Asuka again. Like, I think, that, she was, her and Asuka were, direct competition when it came to that title. So I think, I feel like Asuka's that mountain she's going to climb, almost like Asuka was for Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
Which, I love that from Asuka. She's just proving that she is the Empress of tomorrow. Like, she is the future. Yeah, honestly, I think the smartest decision would be Sasha Banks, but I think, personal motive, I think she'd want to take on Asuka.
So I'm just having a quick look here just to see who'd she win the championship of at NXT.
Basler?
Yeah.
Was it Ripley?
No. So she lost it to Ripley.
She lost it to Ripley. She won it from... Oh. Yeah, that one.
Let's have a look.
But, no, I'd love to see.
It was against Ember Moon.
Ah, interesting.
But then lost the title to Kairi Sane at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4, ending her reign at 133 days. Wow. She had a rematch against Kairi Sane at Evolution.
Do love the Kabuki Warriors, and I'm devastated.
So, because my question was, I had this gut feeling that she'd won it off Asuka, but that may not have been the case.
No, because I think Asuka was up before she was in.
That's what I'm thinking. So from a viewer, I would want to see that. That's what I want to see. Asuka Shayna.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
100%.
But I think that is also the smarter decision from a game plan perspective, especially knowing that like when you go Sasha, you get Bayley, whether you like it or not. And Asuka does, if this is in fact Kairi Sane's last match at WWE, then Asuka will not have that support. She will not have that backup. So
but
that's where I want to go.
Yeah,
but Asuka's a fucking like beast, and like that is there is that as well, and that miss could immobilize Basler in a heartbeat.
Anyone, but like interesting outcome to this whole thing was that Kairi Sane got the pin on Bayley.
That she did.
Was not expecting that.
Me either. Not even a little bit.
Yeah, especially with the fact that like Asuka didn't even seem to interfere, but Sasha Banks was making her presence known, and it was just so awesome to see. Like Kairi always seems to be like getting beat down. To see her pick up that win was just beautiful, and the emotion that was there, like it was beautiful. It was awesome to see, and it goes to show that, the blueprint and the role model aren't, they're not the toughest kids on the block.
I agree. But yeah, as you discussed, like the Raw Women's title is essentially sitting vacant at this point, and a title that we also thought should in fact be considered vacant, United States Championship. So MVP comes out, and he's still similar to Sasha, claiming that he is the United States champion.
Before you get into that, though, you do need to take into account that he was backstage earlier talking to Ron Simmons.
He was.
And he was with Bobby Lashley. And R-Truth came up with a massive pan in his hand, and they invited him to the ring with them, and he's like, absolutely not. I don't want Bobby putting me in the Nelson from The Simpsons again. That shit hurts, bro. And Bobby Lashley's like, it's the full Nelson. He's like, it hurts though, right? So just a reminder, we absolutely stan R-Truth here. He is my favorite. So yeah, big old pan in his hand, and he's like, MVP is like, no, not you. And then, like, a referee gets pulled in, and then Shelton Benjamin comes out of nowhere and takes the 24/7 championship.
Yeah. What I really love is, Bobby grabs the ref, puts him in the shot. Boot comes from off screen, decimates
as R-Truth turns around. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. And then MVP is like, I meant the new champ. Do you want to come to the ring and celebrate with us? And he's like, of course. So I believe they call themselves the Hurt Business.
Yeah, I why are you unsure? They only said it enough.
Yeah,
they drowned that in. So whether this is something that was mentioned in the previous weeks, we don't know because we've had some time away. But this team of Bobby Lashley and MVP, and now Shelton Benjamin, we presume, they're calling themselves the Hurt Business. The
Hurt Business, yeah. Yeah, so that was something interesting. But yeah, MVP is still under the impression that he is the United States champion. However, again, there you
go back.
Yeah, no, nothing from him. So, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, so what's interesting here, because there was sort of no issue really around him having the title. It wasn't really addressed that whether he is in fact the United States champion. Instead, it more led into this match of a tag team match with Ricochet and Cedric Alexander, two people that we haven't seen in a while. So I was very happy to see that.
I did have a laugh at like they were calling them like little boys and stuff like that. Obviously, like Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, and MVP are like the old dudes in the industry in that respect. Like they've got the years of experience on the likes of Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. And obviously MVP kept making jokes about that. And he said something, and Cedric was like, that's funny. That was funny back in 2006
so they
when your career...
MVP called them Dumb and Dumber. Yeah.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber. He's like, that's funny in 2006 when your career was relevant. And I screamed. I was like, oh, like, that was like, the perfect jab.
Like, I don't even know MVP. And I was like, that seems about right, because who the fuck are you?
Yeah, and then obviously MVP was going on about them not having another tag partner, you're doing it on your own, and they're like, no, we do. And he's making his return tonight, and he's like, oh, what, you're Apollo Crews? He's like, we didn't say nothing about Apollo Crews. They're like, we'd like you to welcome back Mustafa Ali.
I'm a go hard.
I was so excited because Ali's looking jacked right now.
He is looking jacked
and
right now.
like he came out with the mask and I was like, eh! Like, I was doing it all. I was so excited. I was like, finally! And then they just go flying into the ring to scare the Hurt Business. And they all did like the flippy things, like Cedric and all that. They did flippy things together and I was like, oh, they're already a cohesive
They were the flippity doodahs. But this does bring in one question, Jem, and this is a question that comes up in chat, apart from Mad Dog saying, hey, Mad Dog's the best. So we got Mad Dog in the chat, he's saying hey. Yeah. And then Kevin also adds, do you think the hacker storyline is now cancelled? So over on SmackDown, we were seeing Ali's symbol and the involvement of this gentleman called the Hacker, who was providing information around storylines and things that were happening as sort of the beacon of truth, like this anonymous guy. That sort of went quiet ahead of Backlash. And then it was because of the symbology, it was led to believe that this was Ali. But Ali's here on Raw now.
Yeah,
Do you think that's the last we'll see of this Hacker Man?
I think so. I feel like that's done and dusted.
Your door is scarily opening by itself.
Yes, there is a cat down here. Come on, Lucifer.
Okay, well, don't just go, oh, my door's open by itself. Oh, hi, Lucifer. Welcome to my bedroom. Oh, before we jump any further, Martin has resubscribed for 13 months. 13 months is over a year. Thank you for the entertainment. No, thank you, Martin, for your support. Thank you
Martin.
so much, Martin. I love Martin. But yes, apart from just letting the devil in your room, we did see 3-on-3 Her Business versus Pretty Fly for other guys. This is
Pretty Fly for the young guys.
I'm just going to put it out there. This is something that just on a complete side note, right? Everyone in this ring, apart from the ref, was a person of color.
Yes.
And that is fucking awesome. Why didn't they get the other ref in? That's what I'm saying.
About the Hurt Biz was like, it was 3 dark men. And I was like, I love this.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And then Ron Simmons just floating around out back was just the icing on the cake. And, and
then Cedric rocking the BLM armband, dope.
Yeah.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, it was awesome. And the match was amazing. Those guys all together, phenomenal.
Well, as you said, like you've got three young dudes that are hungry and they are wanting to be a force, and now like they'll have an expansive skill set. And then you're taking on 3 older veterans. With like decades of experience between them. Like, it was great in concept. I loved it.
Yeah, it was a beautiful, like, a showcase of the new and the old and why they still blend together so well. And the match was just amazing. Like, it was so damn good. Like, the 3-on-3, just mixing it up a little bit. It was really nice to watch. It did end in Ali getting the 450 on MVP for the pin, for the win, which was awesome.
After MVP doing the baller elbow, I'm like, that's fucking dumb.
Ballin'.
I hate him. I really don't like him. He doesn't do it for me even the littlest bit.
Yeah, but no, it was awesome. I was really happy to see that sort of old school versus new school type match. That was so cool. Yeah, I think the Hacker Man's done.
Yeah, I think Hacker Man's done. Ali's here now, and I'm excited. Because one thing we've always discussed is that there's something about like stables, there's groups, these individuals that are coming together to sort of be cool teams. Like we look over the likes of AEW, everyone's in a faction or everyone's teamed up with a manager. Like it's all about team. It's about the networks, about the supports that these people have, and we're seeing that here with the likes of the Monday Night Messiah, so Seth Rollins and his team. We now have MVP in the Hurt Business with Lashley and Benjamin. We're going to presumably see, pretty fry for some young guys, or the Tri-Fly Boys or whatever they want to be called. There's that team there as well. And one team that's also very prominent, which has been prominent for a very long while, is Zelina and her boys with the Z.
Yes, yeah. So Andrade and Angel Garza, who have been a bit on the rocks lately. Charlie does approach them backstage, and she's like, things have been pretty rocky for you guys. What's going on? And they're just like, we're on the same page. We're fine now. This is good. This is fine. And Zelina's like, unlike the Street Profits who just gone into hiding and don't want to show up, my boys are here. They're working cohesively. They are fighting. And yeah, she goes on about how cowardly, I guess, the Street Profits are because they haven't shown their face in a few weeks. And then out of nowhere, Zelina runs screaming, Charlie disappears, and the Street Profits just buzz on Andrade and Angel Garza, and they're just like, oh, you want to go? You want to go? And then they meet them out in the ring for their match.
Yes, this is a build-up from something that happened a couple of weeks ago. So after we saw the Anything You Can Do, We Can Do Better battle between the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits, that did end in a title opportunity for the Viking Raiders. However, that was interrupted by Zelina's boys, which is then fueled into what we saw here tonight.
Yeah. And there was a little bit of Ron Simmons chatting to the Viking Raiders and talking about how their collective coming together with the Street Profits and that sort of stuff is just, it's super amazing to see. And I was like, damn. But yeah, it was really interesting to see, especially with, more recently when we've seen the Street Profits, they have had Bianca Belair on their side, which she was not this evening. Which I think gave Zelina and Andrade and Garza that upper edge, having Zelina in their corner chanting for them. I do love the Street Profits entrance when Montez Ford jumped up on the announce desk and was just shaking his junk at them. I absolutely love how energetic they are. And congratulations, Angelo Dawkins, on having a little bubby. Mwah.
Yeah, Daddy Dawkins.
Daddy Dawkins.
Speaking of dads, Osiris in the chat, it was magic. The Street Profits bring in the smoke.
Oh, those guys, when you get two full-on high flyers like the Street Profits, and then you've got Montez, who's your high flyer, and Dawkins, who's that mix, and you've got that mix in Andrade and Angel anyway. So it was that beautiful blending of all different styles of wrestling. It was a hell of a match.
For me, I've argued this numerous times. So when you've got two similarly compared teams, and I mean that across brands. So you've got AEW and Private Party, and then you've got the Street Profits here in WWE. The Street Profits do the exact same gimmick, but better. So much fucking better.
They do it properly.
Private Party suck arsehole.
Yeah.
These guys are so much better.
Yeah, no, they do it and they do it well.
Yeah.
And you're going to get a lot of cross-branding gimmicks like that to try and, one-up each other. But I feel like Private Party were a new sort of thrown together thing, whereas the Street Profits have been at it for a while. So
also Private Party, they're not thrown together. They have been that pairing for a long time, but something about they don't seem to have the charm or the charisma that Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford do.
And that comes throughout the whole match too, Montez Ford will get some vicious something, he'll do something brutal and then he'll just start screaming and acting erratic and just be going crazy about it. And it's just, they've got the right energy and they make you engaged and you want to watch them because they're just, no matter what they're doing, they're bringing it. You watch like the Usos, you watch them fly through the sky and they're pulling faces while they're doing it. Everything has to be watched.
Yeah, jumping, looking at the hard cam and
Yeah, exactly it. So it's absolutely beautiful. Like Sarah said, they ooze charisma, which I love. And I think coming up against big personalities like Andrade and Angel Garza, who are big personalities in the sense of that, they're quiet, but their wrestling does the talking.
Yeah.
and their presence does the talking because they're always there and they're always in the shadows and they're always on the prowl and they're always attacking. And then they do have Zelina as their mouthpiece. Super.
To add to that, so having Zelina in their corner, and the recent call up of Bianca Belair, which, as we know, was the wife of Montez Ford, did you think it was bizarre to see her not here supporting her husband and his partner, or over on this side dealing with Ruby Riott?
Well, no, because I feel like she's tied up in other things at the moment. You know, just because they're a couple doesn't mean they have to be tied at the hip.
No, but like it was, I was kind of expecting them to be some sort of new trio.
Yeah, I was
as well,
expecting it too. And I think there is still room to do that, but I don't think, I think throwing them together too quickly is just too expected and people get over it very quickly. I think the less we see of Bianca with the Street Profits, the more we're going to want to see more of her with them. So when she does make those appearances, it's going to pop better.
Yeah.
Because she's the EST of WWE and she's going to make herself known. She's going to make a name for herself, and she can't do that just with the Street Profits. She has to get out and do her own business too.
But it's not her own business. She's working with Ruby Riott. Like, so if she was off doing some solo stuff, it would make sense. But she's instead teaming with somebody here, and
she's working smart. She's creating alliances so that she's got people in her corner for when she needs them.
Well, and that makes 100% sense, because so what we saw here was a match against Peyton Royce here, but was with Ruby Riott and Peyton Royce here. So
before we jump into that, just quickly, to be expected, the Street Profits did take the win.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Cool. So yeah. Anyway, she was in a match. So Ruby Riott was in a match against Peyton Royce.
Peyton Royce, no one by his side. Billy Kay off doing a business of none of your beeswax.
None your business. One thing I loved was when Ruby Riott was like, because like Peyton's like, you probably should have picked somebody with a better win-loss record, and Ruby's like, as far as I see it, win-loss. And where's your little friend? Is she imaginary today? How you going, mate? And I was just like, oh, just like pulling the fake Aussie accent out was just adorable. Peyton rocking a cute little lip ring, by the way. As a piercer, I noticed these things. But yeah, it was interesting to see. It was interesting to see Bianca having her nose in there, because obviously we haven't seen what's happened. We don't know what's going on. But a big driving factor in this seems to be the fact that Ruby Riott is trying to repair her relationship with Liv Morgan, and it's not going the way she's hoping. So Peyton picked on that. Peyton was like, Liv wants nothing to do with you. She's never going to trust you again. She doesn't like you, which was the driving force for Ruby in this whole thing. Like, Ruby just wanted to tear Peyton's face off, and she did that in the ring. While Peyton dominated the match for the most part, which was beautiful to see because she is a phenomenal wrestler, Ruby Riott did get the win. And a very emotional win at that. It was so beautiful to see. But my God, it was a hell of a match. Like, it was great. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, because as Osiris says here in the chat, side note, Peyton Royce and Billy Kay are the Kath and Kim of WWE. They disgust me.
Billy, look at me.
Look at me, Billy. Look at me.
Billy, look at me.
So in that case, what is Kath without her Kim? Do you think Billy in the ring here would have been
100%.
the key helper here?
Yeah, 100%, because as a team, that's what they do. They help each other out, get the win. You see it with Sasha and Bayley at the moment. That's what those sorts of teams do. They're not exactly the most liked. They like their dirty tactics, It's been made very apparent that they're huge fans of Eddie Guerrero. So they're going to use those dirty tactics to get what they want and get where they want. So I think the fact that Peyton was doing it on her own, for the most part, she did great, but Ruby Riott was that one step ahead, which was awesome to see.
It was. Very awesome. Speaking of dirty tactics, however, we did see a follow-up of Extreme Rules with Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. They had a match for a championship title where the Dolph with stipulation, Extreme Rules, but for him only. Drew McIntyre had a standard-ass match.
Yes.
Yes, so Drew was asked, how's you doing post that? He's like, I feels like I fell down some stairs, blah, 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 blah. And then he comes
Yeah,
in to the ring to talk about SummerSlam and who his potential
future.
opponent could be. And, of course, Dolph Ziggler comes in with, wanting it to be him again.
Yes, of course. And, he pulls the whole, like, I saw fear in your eyes, like, I was close, like, he pulls all the stops out, and Drew's just like, you're embarrassing yourself, and to save you from further embarrassment, I'm going to leave for you.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't you leave, and he tries to grab him and then cops a Glasgow kiss, and then, like, Dolph's like, hold on, no, like, he's, like, begging, basically. And he's like, I don't care. You choose the stipulations. You say what goes. Just give it to me. And Drew's like, all those years of law school paid off, huh? Because you make a convincing argument and you've changed my mind, Dolph. He's like, I get to pick the stipulations? Challenge accepted. And Dolph's like, what's the stipulation then? And he's like, I said yes 10 seconds ago. I don't even know what the stipulation is yet. He's like, but I'm going to do what you did to me, and I will tell you before the match.
So are you happy to see Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre for SummerSlam?
So it's not for SummerSlam. It is announced that it will be next week.
Oh, my apologies.
Yes. Yeah, so it does get announced later in the show that it'll be next week. Dolph gets his opportunity.
So look, just side note, they're really wanting people to watch Raw next week, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
2 championship matches on episode of Raw, they want you to watch.
Yeah.
Ratings are trash
exactly
right now, so I get it.
Yeah, so that was interesting. That was an interesting revelation. Honestly, I'm excited to see it because Dolph did come very close, and Drew even admitted Dolph almost had him. So it'll be interesting to see, like, obviously we saw how Drew McIntyre stacks up against the odds. I want to see how Dolph Ziggler stacks up against the odds because I have been saying this for the longest time.
What would you consider the stipulation to be?
Oh, coming from Drew McIntyre, God knows.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have no idea. I feel like Drew McIntyre would put a stipulation in place that puts him at a disadvantage so he can just prove to Dolph Ziggler again while Dolph has the advantage that he will beat him.
Okay.
Like, I wouldn't put that past Drew McIntyre because you can never tell with this guy. He's so, like, while he's an open book, he's also a mystery. Like, oh, I reckon this is coming next, and then bam, like, plot twist, and you're like, didn't see that coming. So, like, anything is possible from Drew McIntyre. But in saying that, like, I have to say this because I've been saying it for years. Dolph Ziggler is fucking amazing. There's a reason his hashtag, like, his tag on Twitter is Heel Ziggler because he is perfect. Because he's not lying when he says it should have been him. A lot of these situations should have been him. He has paved the way for so many superstars. So I honestly think that he deserves another shot. He was this close. So,
See, my point, honestly, kind of matches what we got here in the chat. So Osiris is going, Dolph Ziggler started off with a good point. He works hard and wanted his shot. Long overdue. Now, it's gone on for so long that he sounds like a whinging child.
See, no, I love that, though, because he's not backing down.
Seems to have some minor technical difficulties here, but looks like... we back, Jem?
Sorry.
You there?
I'm here.
All right, cool. Yeah,
Can you hear me?
you roboted out for a little moment there, but I was
I'm getting
I was
a bit of
mentioning that how Maya's stance is very similar to Osiris's.
Yes.
Is that like he's had his shot, he had his go. You know, it should have been me. It should have been you when Kofi Kingston was the champion. That's what you said. You said it should have been you now. You're in a weird spot here, dude.
Look.
How often should it be you? I do not think that this is he doesn't. I don't think he deserves this. In terms of stipulation, I don't know. It's like Drew McIntyre has had a mean streak in the past, and it was possible that like what stipulation could he pick, but like what could be more of a anything goes stipulation than Extreme Rules. So, like, is he wanting to do that? Is he
or
wanting...
an unsanctioned match, just to shut
But it
Dolph
can't
up.
be in order for him to win the title, it has to be a sanctioned match.
Yeah, sanctioned match.
So, like, the round, like, you know, is it a TLC match? Is it a Hell in a Cell? Like, because there's no concern about Dolph running off or anything. So it's not. There's no need for it to be a Falls Count Anywhere or even a backstage brawl. Like, there is no reason for that, right? So we've seen tables, we've seen weapons. There's very few stipulations here that really are needed. Like, we've seen them in a steel cage match, and that was when that was 2018. They had a big that was their big end of their tag team match. He does in the correct he puts it an I quit match.
Yeah. That could be good, especially with Dolph the way he is at the moment. Like, I understand where you guys are coming from saying that he sounds whiny, but I love the fact that he's not backing down, because he really has paved the way for a lot of people, and he does deserve these opportunities. I think he deserves a second shot at Drew. Like, he fought real hard. He almost had him. I think that warrants enough for a second opportunity.
But saying that though, he has had plenty of... He's had plenty of opportunities. He has been Intercontinental Champion. He has been United States Champion. He has been the Heavyweight Champion. Like, he has had many, many matches. Many reigns as a champion. When will he come to realize that he is no longer that? Like, this is now, his time has passed.
But I think that's where Osiris comes into play when he says the I quit match. I think this could be, like, the be-all and end-all. I think that's a really good point. I think Drew can be like, all right, you've been sooking for long enough. It's either you do it or you don't. You win the title or you leave.
I don't see that happening on an episode of Raw, but I fucking love the gusto. I think that's actually probably the best response, and the only way that it could really have a definitive outcome. Or maybe it's simple as long as I hold this title, you can never get another shot.
Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah, which would be another good stipulation.
Which I think that's probably more reasonable. You all right?
Yeah, I have to have my door open so the cats can get in and out, because I have a litter box in my ensuite, and one of them's just
damn them cats and they're needing the poops. Dirty
real
cats.
Stanky.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't miss about having a cat was the litter box. It's absolutely worse.
They're generally not too bad, but if one poos in here, the other one has to poo in here, and then it's double stink. So
at least they're friends.
Boys marking their territory.
At least they're friends, and you're like, hey, we're friends. Let's shit in the same area.
Let's poo on each other's poo.
That's Speaking of friends, Randy Orton.
Yes.
He has an unsanctioned match here against one of his previous friends, The Big Show. So he has a backstage promo early on, and what I love about it, you can hear a fucking pin drop. Not a single noise came from that crowd. No one made a sound. As he talks about how he's, people that he would have called his friends, people that saved his life back in the day, and yet he's at a position now where he has to, take
He has
them
satisfaction
down.
from taking them out.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
So one thing that you were disappointed in our time away, that Christian returned.
Yeah, so Christian had an unsanctioned match, and apparently, Ric Flair got involved, and I saw the cuts from that, and I was like, how fucking dare. But then they did have Christian pop on, and he's like, he had a satellite interview, and he's like, Big Show knows what he's getting into, and I trust that he's got a lot of friends there that'll want to help him, and, I can't be there, which sucks, but, Randy Orton's out to do damage. He took my opportunity to have one last match away from me, and he's taken out Edge in that time that we were away as well. He's he tore something in Edge's arm or something.
So during the match at Backlash, he essentially tore his pec or something.
Yeah,
in the boobage region in there.
Yeah,
big right on the edge. Ha!
Yeah. Hey. I think initially I was like, but then I saw Big Show cut his promo, and he was talking about riding on the road with Randy, and they were a little team called Hammer and Chisel, and they had the same dilemma of being these tigers that couldn't change their stripes, and having being typecast in this industry, Big Show being the Big Show, and Randy Orton being the Viper, the assassin, and the more Show talked, I got a bit teary. It was real heartfelt, and his promo made me invested in this match, which was a disappointment for me. It was really lackluster. It was predictable. Everything that happened was predictable.
What was predictable for you?
The whole, like, being an unsanctioned match, obviously, like, Andrade and Angel Garza coming out. Obviously, we know that Randy's made friends with them recently. So having people running in Randy's behalf, like, just, you know, last time he had Ric Flair do his dirty work for him, and, you know, the same old punt and the same old setup for the punt. Like, he does the same setup for everything. He does that top rope, like, DDT thing, and then he does the RKO, and then he does the punt. Like, it was so predictable, and it's like, do something different, Randy. Like, if you're gonna be the legend killer, like, I guess you've got a formula. It works. Like, you're keeping that up. But at the same time, like, it's going to get to the point where he's going to go for somebody who's going to know exactly what he's going to do in what sequence. And it's going to just wipe him out. And I think, like, he needs to pull his head in and try something different. Because somebody's going to, like, the next legend he tries to kill is going to pick up his patterns and just ruin him.
Sorry, because it's almost like he's running to a script. Well, yeah, and
I know. Shocking, right?
It's almost like it's predetermined. Who would have fucking thought?
I know.
I think you 100% got a point there. Like, Randy's been doing this long enough that he's like, I know how this works. I know the system. I know the beats, and I know the beats that work. So he does tend to fall into the same trappings that he's had for X amount of years, right? So it is a little bit uneventful in that sense, because you're like, okay, I bet you're going to try to do this, bet you're going to try to do that, bet you're going to try to do that. And of course...
And it always succeeds. It's like, as if you haven't picked up now how to be like, he's going to do this at this point, so I need to do this to counter it. Like, we've seen it. Like, 3 legends in a row in the last couple of months. Like, come on. Somebody pull... Like, you veterans of the industry, pull your heads in and act like it.
The thing that I'm wondering is... Yeah, it's like, because we keep seeing these matches, or even though they're unsanctioned, they don't really count as wins or whatever. They're all like, I'm wondering where it's leading. Like, who is the veteran? Who is the legend?
Yeah.
Who is the legend that is going to be that stopping point for Randy? I don't say that as like Randy's gonna be like, I think I've killed enough legends. I don't see that happening. But who's gonna be like the opposite? Who's gonna be the foil in his plan?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But at the moment, I guess I'm just bored because it seems to be the same old thing with him.
Yeah, I guess. Look, because and
I love
from
Randy.
what we hear, those plans for SummerSlam, the trilogy, like the final in the 3 matches against Randy and Edge, but that's sort of, you know, with his being so injured at the hands of Randy Orton, it looks as if that has been delayed or, you know, but whatever. So there we go. That does bring us to this week's the end of episode of Raw. Jem, using our not so patented Kurt Angle rating, how'd you go?
Look, I liked it better than Extreme Rules.
Oh,
I really did. The matches were solid. The promos were solid. I was throwing some plot twists, which I loved. So I'd probably call it a Kurt and a bar.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was pretty happy with it, but it wasn't the greatest. You know?
Yeah, look,
I think the only thing that was a real downer was that last match for me.
Yeah, look, for me, it's just right down the middle. It's a good old one, Kurt. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I liked the matches were solid. There was some cool storytelling in there, but nothing really invested me in it. Like that, we did. We saw a lot of questions get answered, and then they also asked additional questions, and it's cool, some cool setup. But like, and I like that they're heading into next week. And I think I'm probably giving it only one Kurt, knowing that I'm more excited for what next week could bring. Yeah, with 2 title matches, I'm excited to see what's going on over there.
But that's the thing. Extreme Rules, like, while engaging, it set us up for Raw, and then that's going to set us up for next week. So I like the continuity, that they've got going on.
But yeah, speaking of continuity. It wouldn't be an episode of The Young and the Wrestlers without ending the show with a dirt sheet. Because we didn't just return this week. Dirt Sheet Dash returned this week. And he's given us a bunch of news. 1, 2, 3, 4 bits of news, in fact. Number 1. The Nation of Domination returning? ?
Ooh.
WWE Hall of Famer Ron Simmons appeared on this week's episode of Raw, as we discussed in a brief backstage segment. Dave Meltzer of Figure 4 Wrestling Online discussed why Simmons was on the show. Quote, so there's an idea, I don't know if it was dropped. Originally, it was going to be on the show for a revamping of the Nation of Domination, and Ron Simmons was supposed to be part of that angle. But they dropped that angle for this show. They may be building to it later. They may have dropped it completely. They brought him in for that angle, so that's why he was on television. Quote, courtesy of ringsidenews.com. In the meantime, MVP's new faction is being referred to as the Hurt Business, as we discussed, with Shelton Benjamin joining the group after winning the 24/7 title from R-Truth. Now, something to add a little bit of potential truth to this. I did see on the Twitters, Tom Colohue mentioned that this episode of SmackDown of Raw had about 3 rewrites ahead of release. So that may have happened. Now, Nation of Domination is not something that I'm aware of, Jem. What can you give me some info?
Look, Nation of Domination's a bit before my time as well, so I really can't have an input here.
That's fine.
I don't really remember it. So,
but once again, like it's this group dynamic that I love, and this is the one thing that makes AEW shine right now, right? Is they are using legends and their stories to help push new stories forward. And I think if they try to harness some of that, now they're not going to do it as well, I don't think, because they seem to have the same 4 old people on rotate at WWE, where how many times can we see Ric Flair? Oh, we did last week. How many times can we see Stone Cold, like here and there? Yeah, I mean, like, as much as these people are big, loved and massive legends within WWE, but like they only keep wheeling out so many. Where AEW seem to have a whole different approach. Next up.
Sorry if you heard a loud crash and bang
dogs,
just before, by the
your
way.
cat's dick farting around in your cupboard.
Yeah, no. He just got thrown in here. He's in isolation because he tipped over the birdcage trying to get them.
Them damn cats.
Just, yeah.
In trouble.
Yeah, he's locked in here because he's being naughty.
Next up, Nattie Knightheart versus Shayna Basler, ? As previously noted, WWE producer TJ Wilson, that's Tyson Kidd, had a fever when he showed up for COVID-19 testing on June 25th. While both he and his wife Natalia were set to have been tested and received negatives twice, Natalia was sent home as a precautionary measure but has yet to return. It appears that there were plans for Natalia to get a push against Asuka, with Dave Meltzer of Figure4WrestlingOnline.com again noting the following. The idea as of yesterday for Kairi Sane to be injured and the person who injures her, who by TV tonight looks to be Shayna Basler, and Basler was brought back as a backup to injure Kairi, and it looks like she's going to be the backup because Natalia was originally scripted in that role, but she has been kept off. As far as I know, Natalia does not have COVID, but she's been off for weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, a lot of re-scripting here, and with this being Kairi's final match, and I was in a similar boat. I was like, seeing Shayna Baszler, I'm like, why is she not involved? Why is she not getting in here? Because it seems like she'd be ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. Look, I think if it's Kairi's last match, she deserved the win.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way for her to go out.
But she's not being written off telly either, so she could always still come back.
Yeah, exactly it. I think for the safety of everyone, I think Natalia's just Nattie's a very motherly type, so I think Nattie's just for the safety of everyone just self-isolating, which is a smart thing to do. Because it also gives that mystery. It takes her away for a little bit. So when she does come back, we're going to get that bigger pop because she always just seems to be floating around. So the less we see of her, the more I want to see of her, you know?
Speaking of a bit more COVID, though, Apollo Crews may in fact have COVID-19 himself. Mick Johnson of PWInsideElite.com noted the following regarding Apollo Crews not appearing in the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Quote, what they stated on the pay-per-view was legitimate in that he was not cleared to compete. However, they said he failed his pre-show medical. That was not the case. He was not there at the Performance Center all day. Those who worked on the show, when they were given the plan for what was going on, they were told Crews was not cleared to compete. Quote, courtesy of HealByNature.com. Once again, during Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said the following about Cruz's absence. Quote, so Apollo Crews has COVID. People have been suspecting it, and it was, end quote. It should be noted that Meltzer did not elaborate any further on the matter and did not outright say that Crews tested positive for COVID-19.
Look, I think it's plausible just because we know that COVID has been making its rounds through the WWE because they've really not been on top of anything at all. At all. You know, America in general is just absolutely screwed when it comes to this whole COVID thing. I think, you know, it sucks because it does mean that Apollo Crews is probably going to have to give up that title depending on how he recovers. But, yeah, look, I have to agree with Chris in the sense that, like, you know, the state of the nation over there, like, it's baffling that Raw and SmackDown is still going on, especially with COVID so rampant throughout that industry right now, especially the WWE.
Completely agree.
You know?
And also, hey, Chris, we haven't seen you in a while, man. Good to see you.
Yeah. They've got their barriers up. They've got superstars with masks on. You know, they've got performance center people instead of an actual crowd. Like, it's... which Shayna Basler did make a dig out, which I love. She was like, what do you want me to do? Put on a mask and go hang out in the crowd? I was just like, you tell him, bitch. It was great. But, you know, it's like, it's still not enough. Like, those people are still in such close quarters, but they're still doing their own things outside of it. Like, they're not being mandated to isolate or anything like that, which means that it's going to catch and it's going to spread through the WWE.
Damn right.
Which sucks because then you end up in situations like this where, you know, Nattie is written out and now, like, Apollo has to be. And, you know, it's just, it sucks. They really need to do something about it.
But, so before we wrap up this segment, Jem, Dash has once again come through with a bit of background knowledge for us in regards to the what were they called? The Nation of Domination. They were a heel. This is giving some information. The heel group was originally formed in the WWF, with wrestler Farouk was joined by manager Clarence Mason. The two men were also accompanied by two unnamed actors, Albert Armstrong and William Beach, who were supposed to represent other members of the Nation. The group was based loosely on the Nation of Islam. The extremism of the group's pro-black theme at times, including the Nation's salute and Farouk's angry tirades on the microphone, garnered them an excessive amount of heat from fans in arenas.
Yeah, I remember Ron Simmons was Farouk.
Dash just confirmed
that
in the chat there as well. So Farouk, which is Ron Simmons,
said it.
promised that he would deliver, quote, a bigger and blacker, end quote, version of the Nation, which led into the induction of Kama Mustafa and Ahmed Johnson into the group. Johnson would be forced out of the group due to injury and replaced by Rocky Maivia, later known as The Rock.
The Rock.
So
Yeah,
this
so
is
it was
amazing. So
Ron
adding
Simmons
to what,
and-
you know, obviously we noticed within that match, there was, you know, 6 individuals of color in that match. I'm like, awesome. And then they're looking to actually create a faction based around that. And I think now's the right time to do that.
Exactly. It was the right time back then. It's the right time now.
It's awesome. I'm excited for that. But
Yeah.
that does bring us to the end of the show. Big thank you, everyone, for joining us. As always, thank you, Jem, for being the show. As always, being the amazing co-host that you are.
Show up or show out, guys.
That's right. This was
Big show up or big show out. Hey!
This was our Raw in review, and it comes at you every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, you can at facebook.com/group/popculture, Twitter, Discord, Instagram. All those links are in the description below. Or you can join us as the conversation happens on twitch.tv/thepopculturist, where you can watch it all happen live. If you want to support the show, you can by telling your friends, telling your family about this wrestling pod. Go to your podcast service of choice, 5-star rating, written review, or if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe, maybe even ring that notification bell, leave us a comment below. We love chatting to each and every one of you. You also support us financially at patreon.com/thepopculturist or our merchandise store, popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. And until next week, when we are back doing our combined super show of SmackDown and Raw, I'm Ryan Betson.
And I'm Jem.
And we'll see you then. The Young and the Restless, the Pop Culturist WWE podcast, is fan support over at Patreon at patreon.com/thepopculturist. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers: AJ Abatomi, Damian Holdies, Kyle Dunn, Lee Wintershoven, Nathan Massetti, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.